Good evening. I'm Edward Borman, and I'll be your host tonight as History Uncovered takes a revealing look at sex, drugs, the mafia, and children's television programming. This is History Uncovered. The mafia's tie to the entertainment industry is well documented. Since the time of the now infamous Benjamin Bugsy Siegel, Hollywood and the mob have made not-so-strange bed partners.
Bugsy Siegel was a real pioneer for the Cosa Nostra. He knew before anyone else that the mafia really had a serious PR problem. The mob engineered some of the most devious crimes ever committed, but time and time again, Hollywood portrayed them as ignorant thugs, bound to be caught by the law. It was really starting to hurt recruitment. Bugsy figured if he spread a little money around and maybe some muscle, he could influence some of the producers of the time to make more flattering portrayals of the gangsters. The most famous of these, of course, was All Gangsters Like Flowers.
Oh, Johnny, you can't like flowers. You're in the mafia.
Let me tell you something, sweetheart. I'm in the mafia till I see a daffodil. I've seen dons with various flowers brought to their knees by simple flowers.
The movies enjoyed some success. In fact, the Broadway adaptation of All Gangsters Like Flowers won several Tonys. But it soon became obvious that the audiences they were targeted at were already too old and set in their opinions.
I was 13 years old when Rick the Thumbs brought me under his wing. Now, he was a man to respect. He introduced me to his crew out in Hollywood and told them that I was the future of the mafia movie business. He put me right to work. He said that my first job was to win the hearts and minds of America's youth. 3 months later, my first project was finished. I called it Our Gang. It was beautiful. I'd have a bunch of little street punks pulling pranks out doing bullies. Real strength in numbers sort of crap, you know what I mean. Rick actually suggested many of the scenes where the kids hold secret meetings in their clubhouse. Kids all over began dressing, talking, and acting just like the kids on the show. Some of the biggies back east caught wind of it and decided to throw some moolah into research. We had a whole team of scientists and child shrinks just trying to figure out how far we could influence the little brats.
I've been director of the IMR for 2 years now. Our primary research is the learning patterns of adolescents and forced scientific behavior modification within those learning patterns. We have pioneered some of the most amazing Pavlovian data on children. Here we see subject 237J performing a classic example of negative reinforced behavior modification. Interestingly, we found that children were easier to manipulate because they had a predisposed penchant for violence. Of course, there were children who became overly aggressive and could not be controlled. But these are casualties of science.
The crackdown on organized crime throughout the 50s and 60s would force the Cosa Nostra for a time to abandon the work started by the IMR. During this time, they concentrated their efforts on creating the illusion of legitimacy for the mafia. With its own people now firmly and legally in place within the television business, the mafia could renew its interest in converting America's children. The year was 1967.
So Nick Rossi comes to me in the summer of 1967, and he says, based on our research at IMR, the time is right for us to do a children's program. Funny thing is, if you were watching television in 1967, 68, you'd think someone was already screwing with your kids. What with all the psychedelic crap and the bad rock and roll music, it was really easy for us to disguise what we called our pro-family entertainment.
Louis the Fish, who was head of the West Coast family, he wasn't thrilled with the whole idea. He felt that there were better ways to spend his money, but in the end, I convinced him that the payoff would be huge. So he finally gives us the 50 large just to create a pilot episode. I went to work immediately. I put together this great crew. A bunch of guys I thought I could trust. It was a stroke of luck that I wasn't killed for what happened. There was Vinny Lucci, one of our best bagmen. Tony Fiends, who worked the LaGuardia robbery. Big Mac Davis, who got his name when he shot some poor sap from serving him cold fries. And Rick Patello, my idiot brother-in-law. My wife begged me to get him a job. So you know what these four morons do to me? They spend about $3 grand on cheap costumes, sets, some washout producer, and then blow the rest of the fish's money on hookers and partying. 47 G's. I couldn't frickin' believe it. We might have been able to keep it in the family, so to speak, if not for that Ricky. He shot his mouth off around town, piqued the interest of some reporter, and then she snuck a hidden camera into one of those little backstage parties of theirs. It was all over the news. Me and my wife hopped the plane and hit out Acapulco until it was over. Before the plane ever landed, the fish started cleaning house. Bam! Tony gets to leave in the studio. Bam! Mick and Vinny both catch two behind the ear. 2 days later, Ricky has an unfortunate home accident. His toothbrush blows up. I was next. But then the State Department catches up with Louis the Fish and deports him back to Sicily. Luckily for me, Sammy Bones, the guy who replaces the fish, is an old friend. Within 2 weeks, I'm back in business, with a real bankroll this time.
So Nick contacts me and tells me we're back in business, and we got $500,000 to play around with. But we had to make it right this time. We had to do it clean. So we decided to produce the show. But we had to get someone to put their name to it, someone respectable. Hanna-Barbera, they never knew what they put their name on to. And so the Banana Splits were born.
The Banana Splits present the Banana Splits. And here come the Banana Splits. Fleagle!
Art Tate, alias Fleagle Dog.
Bingo!
Eddie DeMucha, alias Bingo Monkey. Benny Crane, alias Drooper Lion.
And Snarky!
And Robert the Snark Peterson, alias Snarky Elephant. The Mafia now had the medium for getting to America's youth. The research done decades earlier would prove to be as effective out of the laboratory as it was inside of it. Bobby Snark is now in the FBI's witness relocation program. He agreed to be interviewed if we concealed his identity.
Those were great times for me, my friend. We were celebrities. No one even suspected the crap we were pulling off. Let me run you through some of the highlights. First of all, there was the random violence. This was all scientifically designed to fire the little brats up. We tried to work with guns and have chase scenes whenever possible, but it was the music that really got to them. Pay attention to the weird graphics going on. Those weren't there for show. You should check out some of those scenes at about half speed.
On the Snark suggestion, we did just that. I should warn you that you won't believe what we found. You're probably thinking that this couldn't have had any real effect on people. But wait till you see some of the fans.
They were the greatest. As soon as I turned 16, I tried to join the Mafia. Unfortunately, I'm from a small town in Iowa, and the closest thing we have to the Mafia is a 4-H club.
The Banana Splits, I didn't think they were all that great. But then again, I wouldn't tell you punks, because everybody knows that stoolies end up in the East River. Ah, f this, I'm out of here. One day...
The Banana Splits gained ever more popularity in its 4 seasons on the air. But trouble was on the horizon for the members of the show.
My Eddie was a good man. He was kind. He was a good husband. He was good to the kids and loving, kind, gentle. He never hit me, not hard. Everything was going well. The last season, a success. And things started going wrong. This little scene put my Eddie in the hospital for 2 weeks. Of course, once he was back, Eddie hid a little surprise in one of the props. Art was pissed. He got together with the other 2 and killed my sweet Eddie right there in the show. Even being killed, he got a huge laugh.
We only filmed 2 more episodes after that. It was the end of the Banana Splits and Mafia children's programming.
Or was it? The truth is, most of us parents don't monitor what our kids are viewing. At such a young and impressionable age, your child could be influenced by evil organizations, like the public broadcasting system.
3 slugs from a .22 into your brain pan.
This has been a presentation of History Uncovered. Join us again when our topic will be the Vatican, the house that prostitution built. I'm Edward Borman, and thanks for joining us.